The third stage of the Clipper Round the World Yacht Race takes the fleet south, back across the Atlantic to the water sports capital of South Africa, Durban. Refreshed and revitalised after their brief stint on land, the 10 crews make their way back onto the water. In fresh, warm winds, race 3 begins. Ahead, 4,000 miles of non-stop, unforgiving racing. As land fades into the distance once more, day-to-day on-board routine replaces the luxuries of life on solid ground. Home for the next 3 weeks is a 68-foot yacht, constantly wet, permanently on an angle. The challenge of a lifetime continues. On board Hull and Humber, the crew are settling back into life at sea. But only days into the 3-week voyage, things are looking bleak for youngest member of the race, 17-year-old student Sam Willis.
Very bad chest pain, not feeling too good. Been on the phone, or Danny's been on the phone to Falmouth. He says it could be possible appendicitis, which means I need to get off the boat.
Any illness out at sea is serious business. Appendicitis could be critical. Sam has to abandon ship fast.
Bring the rib over here, you're not going to get into that rib and go over.
Coordinated by skipper Danny Watson, the rescue mission begins. Acting fast is vital. Urgent medical attention could save his life. As night falls, Sam is transferred into an inflatable rib and taken to the waiting Navy vessel as quickly as possible. For now, he's safe.
My ship, the Apostle joined our boat. Nice trip to South Africa.
Captain, first of all, can I say many thanks for coming out and rendezvousing with us here and a professional.
Sam has been lucky. Any further off the coast and help may not have been so close to hand. Elsewhere in the fleet, it's steady progress out into the middle of the Atlantic. On board Jamaica, there's time for routine checks to the machinery. Keeping an international racing yacht in full working order requires constant checking and maintenance. At the back of the boat, skipper Simon Bradley is helping to service the steering mechanism.
Welcome to my cabin. This is where I live. And occasionally the crew let me out, but normally only when I've been very, very good and given them extra rations. We're looking at the rudder stop at the moment. There's a certain amount of movement which you can't quite see from this angle, but it's down here and there's a clunking noise.
Without a fully operational rudder, the boat can't steer. It's just one more vital tweak to keep the yacht racing at top speed. Throughout the fleet, there's good progress being made towards the finish line in South Africa. As the sun sets on day 10, all is well on board Liverpool 08.
We're in the South Atlantic. We're about 900 miles west of Cape Town. We're trying to get southeasterly about 500 miles. A couple of days, get down to 40 degrees south, and then from that point on, hopefully we can get good wind to head up towards Cape Town.
Ocean racing is a 24-hour sport. Just because the sun goes down doesn't mean the racing stops. Sleep comes in short bursts, only a few hours at a time. And work is physical and demanding. It's a punishing schedule, and the tiredness is beginning to show. Up at the head of the fleet, the lead boats are skirting the coast of South Africa. After nearly 4,000 miles with no one else in sight, New York and Hull and Humber are suddenly neck and neck. But this isn't the only close quarters battle. Incredibly, after miles and miles alone, uniquely Singapore also have company.
2,000 miles without seeing anyone, and then suddenly we have now WA. They were 10 miles behind us last night, so they've caught up overnight, and now we're neck and neck.
In light winds, it's a tight contest to see who can get the upper hand. But wind isn't the only factor on the skipper's minds.
Out there is the Agulhas current, which runs at 4 to 5 knots, and it's going against us, and we're trying to go that way. So there's not much scope for us to get away from the WA. We're going to be holding the same line to get up to Durban. So it's going to be an interesting little race up the coast.
The 4,200-mile race from Brazil has become a neck-and-neck race for the line. "23 days after leaving Salvador, the two lead boats arrive in Durban together, under cover of darkness. After thousands of miles, they finish within meters of each other. For Hull and Humber and New York, champagne celebrations at the dockside, and a full Zulu welcome on dry land. It's a massive victory for both teams. Hull and Humber have clawed their way back through the fleet after their emergency evacuation. New York have settled quickly under the guidance of their new skipper.
So, welcome home. Busan!
As both teams enjoy their first meal on land for 2 weeks, there's a well-earned sense of satisfaction.
Very close racing, just great for the crew. Confidence levels straight up, they're working really hard and very tired, but God, they did really well, really pleased. You've got to work so hard. So this sort of close racing, one design fleet, stiff competition.
For Hull and Humber, the end of the race from Brazil is more than just another ocean crossing. For each of the two crews of novice sailors safely on land, the end of Race 3 marks a proud, personal victory. For the boats out at sea, the journey has yet to end. Durban 2010 and beyond is homeward bound, nearing the end of its ocean voyage, and edging ever closer to a hero's welcome in its home port. But just when the end is in sight, progress suddenly stops. With no wind to propel them forwards and the Agulhas current forcing them back, skipper Ricky Chalmers has no option but to drop anchor.
Well, we're trying to get the boat moving. Both head sails are up. They seem to be filling, but not brilliantly. Next plan is to get the main up and see if we go in any direction apart from south, which is the way we're going at the moment. South is not good.
The next morning, the winds have returned, but for the boats so desperate to make it home, luck has not. In a freak accident, their mainsail has ripped in two. With no sail to power the boat, Durban 2010 and beyond drifts helplessly, only miles from home. Impossible conditions and ripped sails have dogged the closing stages of Durban 2010 and beyond's race home.
Okay, guys, we crossed the line.
But finally, they cross the finish line and begin their triumphant motor into port. It's a proud moment for the team of amateurs. Arriving safely after any ocean crossing takes determination, patience, and endurance. Inside the local yacht club, a hearty meal and a chance to reflect on a tricky passage from Brazil.
I'm really proud of the guys. I'm really proud of what we've done. It's been a bit of a disaster in terms of equipment failure. We've been sitting the last 3 days with half a mainsail. It's been a really, really busy time. But it was racing against other boats, and that's what it's all about.
And for one sailor, it's a homecoming in the truest sense of the word. South African Joe Zabber.
I'm quite proud to be representing Durban, and then it's quite nice to be back home as well. Definitely back home ports and the home boats. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah.